It is April 3rd, 2016. This is the Overdose Talk Show. Hello. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Hello.
Hello, Andrea and David Box on Skype up in Illinois. Nice to speak with
Hi.
you two gents again.
It's always nice.
How you guys doing? How's everybody up there? How's all the animals?
Great. Everybody's great. The snake was trying to kill itself a few minutes ago, but he's cool now.
Yeah, why is your snake always trying to kill itself?
It's out of stupidity. It's not out of hating his life or anything.
No, he likes his life.
He just doesn't know what he will and will not fit in.
Are you sure it's not because he's 8 feet long and lives in a 3 feet long tank?
He's got it fucking made in the shade, dude.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
He's like 5 feet long and he lives in a 6 foot long tank. So
The snakes half his size, or the snakes that are twice his size in the fucking zoo live in something smaller than he does.
So snakes like that. They're fine with it.
Well, he's gonna have to be.
Um,
It's all we can afford.
did you guys? I know you probably didn't, but there was a libertarian debate recently. They're talking about the first nationalized or nationally televised libertarian debate that's ever been broadcast, I guess, on Fox Business. And I wanted to watch some of that, but then I got distracted by this one from a month or two ago that was the Libertarian Party of Mississippi. And this guy, what's his name? Darryl Perry. I was pretty interested because, well, I'll just play you guys a clip and see what you think. I've never really heard a politician talk like this before. Not even good old Ron Paul, but check this out real quick.
What I promise you is not 5% of the vote, not winning the White House, not anything other than
I don't know if we're
as
supposed to
loudly
do
as
this,
possible
or-
and as boldly as possible
sorry.
and as often as possible proclaiming the ideas of liberty. There was a survey done, I believe, by Pew recently that said that up to 1 in 4 Americans support the idea of secession. As far as I know, I'm the only candidate running for the Libertarian Party nomination that is openly advocating for secession. The complete disbandment of the United States federal government. The largest terrorist organization on the planet needs to be dissolved. The people of Mississippi and the people of Alabama and the people of California, New Hampshire, wherever you are, you should have the right to determine for yourself if and how you are governed. That's what you will get from a Darryl Perry campaign.
Wow.
Kind of a confused smattering of applause there afterwards. And I'm sorry about the sound quality on that. That's not our fault. That's literally the quality of the live stream that put this out. Fucking terrible. And all the YouTube comments are just complaining about that. Like, what the fuck is this? Is why no one takes you seriously, you fucking retards. However, one thing I did notice that was annoying about libertarians is they kind of do the same thing that Republicans and Democrats do, is they spend a lot more time talking about reasons that they'd be able to be successful politically rather than actual issues. You know what I mean? There was probably more discussion of actual issues than you'll get in a Democrat or Republican debate. But they kind of did the same annoying stuff like that. But I've never heard a politician say anything like that before. And I really enjoyed.
No, me neither.
I really enjoyed hearing it. And as someone who more and more starts to lean towards anarchism, although I don't profess any specific, government philosophy or economic fucking allegiance to any specific system. I do more and more feel like I probably want to be an anarchist. That was pretty cool to hear.
Is he trying to start another civil war?
It could be. It could end up that way, huh?
A 50-way civil war.
I think what he's talking about is every state seceding, and just withdrawing from the federal government and starting over. Which, what else are you going to do at this point? We've talked forever about how there's probably no possible way of voting ourselves out of slavery here, and voting ourselves out of the parasitic system that we have. So,
Well, wait. But what if we vote like really hard?
yeah, I heard a lot of people are doing that this time around. A lot of people are shoving that fucking thing in there. Bernie. No, but
I'm surprised Daryl Perry didn't get a bigger response for saying that.
people were scared.
Although
It
he
sounded
did
like they were like
yeah,
almost scared
and
to
he did have
applaud.
a little, like a hint of Vermin Supreme in him. It seemed like where he was trying to use those convincing vocal movements, but wasn't quite there.
Well, this
You know what
guy,
I mean?
I guess he's a radio host, author and stuff. I don't know much about him. I actually sent him a message on Facebook today, and he responded after like 10 minutes, and said
Nice.
he might be open to coming on the show.
Weirdo.
So I'm going to try to get him on, and I think it's possible.
He was like, "Oh my god, I've been listening to you guys forever."
Yeah, like you guys are my main,
Someone's talking to me.
you guys are my main news source. Like, oh no. That's what's weird. That's what's weird about doing a show like this. Even with the just very modest fucking following that we've been able to get, we get people that say like, "Oh, I get my news from you guys." Like, what? That is scary. That's kind of a, and a lot of people,
That's your bad.
yeah, a lot of people that do silly shows have heard that before. I get, you guys are my main news source. Like, no, that shouldn't be the case. You should definitely be getting information
don't
somewhere
be proud
else.
of that.
Yeah. But I want to hear the just tiny smattering of applause
This
again.
terrorist organization on the planet needs to be dissolved. The people of Mississippi and the people of Alabama and the people of California, New Hampshire, wherever you are, you should have the right to determine for yourself if and how you are governed. That's what you will get from a Daryl Perry campaign.
Like 7 people. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but I like it, man. Definitely a bold thing to say, you know, and to come
Yeah,
out
for sure.
unapologetically like that and try to get support on that platform is definitely something that's a fuckload more interesting than anything we're seeing from the mainstream candidates. A lot of people would say it's completely insane. But okay, do you trust the system? I don't. You know, whatever. What else is on your mind about? Let's talk about the stupid politics. Even when you hate politics, it just sucks you in. I don't even know how. I think it's because so much of the information spectrum right now is just dominated by the election, you know, and you're just seeing it so much, and you're seeing the dumbass people commenting and blah blah blah, and you just can't help but just kind of try to add your voice because you view yourself obviously as way more reasonable than anyone else, and
Right.
and you just get sucked into it.
I can't tell you how often I type out like 4 paragraphs on someone's
Yeah,
Go
then- yeah.
Bernie, and then you just erase the whole thing.
Right.
Just like, no,
Because you're picturing,
not, it's just not.
yeah, you're just picturing someone else being, because like you can try to be as nice as you can, and all you'll get is insults back if you're talking politics.
Right.
So, or just somebody.
And it becomes like, am I ready to devote my entire afternoon to what's about to happen?
Right. Or I've lost a Facebook argument. Oh no.
Yeah. God damn it.
I'm not even gonna do it. I know, I do the same thing. I even when I think it's like a really obvious point, I'm like, you know what, it's not even fucking worth it. How much of an asshole everyone's gonna be if I type this.
I will tell you one thing I've seen is some growing support for Donald Trump.
Oh yeah?
Have you noticed that at all in on your Facebook?
Uh,
Just like among people that you know
No.
in
Yeah.
real life.
What I've seen is like people who support Donald Trump are generally really quiet and shy about it because they kind of, and probably because it's pretty like it's way more unpopular to the other side to be for Donald Trump, or yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? The reaction that you get from like friends and family and the public at large is way more violent when they're an anti-Trump supporter and you're a pro-Trump person or something. Not that we are, but you know what I mean? It's like it's like if I was a Trump supporter, I would almost feel afraid to say it.
Yeah, and the other thing that they tend to have in common is if you're like, oh, what's one specific thing that you like about what Trump is doing? They can never, it just becomes, no, I like him. or he speaks his mind.
Well,
But if you're like, name one thing, one specific thing, like nobody ever has anything.
but
you
people
know?
people don't vote based on that. They vote on trends and who people they think are smart are supporting and who
And emotions.
and emotion and who feels right and who seems less offensive and blah blah blah. You know, the whole thing with Donald Trump is that it's funny because people have really vague reasons they support him, and people also have really vague reasons that they hate him. Like, well, what's something racist that he said? Well, everything he says is racist. Well, you know, name something. Well, Mexicans not a race.
Yeah.
Muslims not a race. What else? What else do you have? Well, he's a xenophobe then. Like, okay. Whatever. And who gives a shit? It's just the whole thing's a circus, right? I can't believe there's anyone left anywhere in the country that thinks it's all right that Hillary Clinton has a chance to be president. It's like, just that isn't that just enough, really, of the Bushes and the Clintons? It's just, come on, man. Just
Well,
Not to mention she's a criminal.
sure. What are you specifically referring to?
The Benghazi scandal.
Right.
that's one. Yeah.
Well, a lot of things came out.
And then
One of
and
the
then
many.
the other thing with her email. Is that the same thing? I don't know.
Well, no, but there's information about one in the other, but for whatever reason the jury is apparently still out on whether or not she broke the law by having a private server that she did that stuff with, you know. She's saying there's no specific rule against it, but I think it violates some other laws by implication, right? So
I think from now on there will be.
yeah, you just made it. You made there be one. That's for sure. It just
Well, and that's the other thing I was going to say is I've seen a growth of Trump supporters in people I know in real life, and I have not seen any change in terms of people who actually exist to support Hillary.
No.
And that number has gone from 0 to 0.
Bernie Sanders is still going strong. Actually, our mom is going up to Wisconsin to canvass door to door and get people out to vote for Bernie Sanders. And I called her and I was like, dude, because I do call our mom dude. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
it is completely, and she calls us dude. It's just how we talk. I'm like, it's completely a dangerous, bad idea in this political climate to be going door to door telling people who they should vote for. That sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard of, as fucking volatile as people are on both sides. Like, you're at the very least, you're going to get screamed at and called names and told, get the fuck off my porch. Slim chance that somebody could fucking, either try to do something violent or throw a drink on you or something. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put it past people to hear that there's canvassers in their neighborhood and plan to do something mean. So I'm like, Mom, you're I don't know how old she is. Actually, I have no idea, but you're some old person and you
You're a grown-ass adult.
yeah, you're some horrible age that you should be ashamed of, and you're gonna walk, door to door and like incite this, because like, what are you gonna do? I don't understand that. You think you're gonna change somebody's mind, or you're gonna show up to a door and somebody's gonna go, "There's an election? I hadn't heard anything about it. Okay, tell me what's going on." Oh shit, that guy sounds
election
way
for what?
Yeah, that guy sounds way better. Yeah, definitely, I'm in. All you're gonna find is people that you already agree with or that vehemently disagree with you, and I just don't get it. But whatever. Bernie Sanders supporters are growing and growing too. What?
Was she also dispensing information about like where you can vote and what type of ID you need?
Yeah, but
and how to find your own polling place.
To me, that's just such like a kind of smarmy, self-serving activity. Like, do you really think people can't find that out if they give a shit? Like, that's another thing. Like, all these people that post on social networking, I voted today. It's very easy. Here's how you do it. Here's the places and the times and blah, blah. Like, you're just trying to stroke your own ego and how informed and helpful you are. You're not actually The amount of people that are going to see that and go, oh shit, I didn't know I could do that shit. Fuck, all right. Like, that's going to be such a low.
You mean I can vote?
Right. It's in this town? What? Open for hours? Okay. I thought.
But how much does it cost?
Right. I thought I had to have some kind of secret decoder ring and know a password. And there'd be like one of those Roger Rabbit, like, whatever. Hold on, we got a call on the line.
That was convenient.
Yeah, right. Remember there was a scene in Roger Rabbit, and now I can't remember what it was at all, but there was a scene where they had to have some, like, password, and it's a big burly guy behind the door, like, you know. All right, whatever. I'm not funny. Hello?
That scenario
Well,
never
yeah.
existed anywhere.
Yeah, our dad's
Hello?
on the phone, presumably to talk shit about our mom. What's going on?
Yeah. I think your mother is full of shit.
Uh-huh. She's building our website
You've
right now, too.
You know, I always have, and you've always known that.
Right.
But you know what? She's doing what she feels is right.
So,
I don't see anything wrong with what she's doing.
all right. Well, I don't see anything morally wrong with it, but I just think, whatever. I think she's being tricked. I suggested, I was like, you want to do something good for the world? Why don't you? I never see you working in soup kitchens or fucking going around volunteering places. Like, why don't you do something like that directly helps somebody instead of this sort of like I just think, and I'm not trying to like ridicule her because there's millions of people that are doing the same thing. It's just that it feels more self-serving and ego based than actually like altruistic and,
Okay.
and you know what I mean.
You know, I've told you for years that I feel like the last person
Fucking Christ.
who really had a solid vote in this country was Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, except for he didn't commit that murder.
Right. Yeah, but it's so symbolic of what I believe.
Right. No, I get you. That's
I think that's how you vote.
you don't vote
is,
with votes or dollars. You
'cause
use
the-
bullets.
With bullets.
Fuck.
You know,
Christ.
the
This is awesome.
the voting booth is not a venue that any of us gain anything from.
All right. Well, we got to go because you sound terrible.
Yeah, I feel terrible.
All right, but thanks for calling in to advocate for assassinating politicians. That's always good. It's always good for a.
Sorry about that.
That's always good for a budding talk show. That'll help us get
But it really is how I feel. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but you know, for many years I've been saying the way to solve the problem is go arm everybody and go to Washington, shoot everybody wearing a tie. And there'll be some, you know, good people shot, but what are you gonna do?
Besides that,
Mm-hmm. All right. We'll talk to you later, Pops. What else? You're listening
no,
to
okay.
listening to a talk show where we talk shit about our mom and our dad calls in all wasted. To add
Talks about killing.
and talks about killing the
Politicians.
president. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Here we go. What's next?
I was just gonna point out, you know, you said that what mom is doing is not altruistic, but maybe she's not doing it for that reason. You pointed out earlier when we were talking that a lot of people donate money to presidential campaigns because that's like how they only think that they can feel involved in what's going on. But maybe someone who doesn't have money to donate still has the same feeling, like they need to feel involved in what's happening.
Oh yeah, no, and I know, and I've done my share of going out and being a weekend activist, and I'm, and I've kind of been guilty of that in the past too. But I guess it's because I just don't believe in the voting system anymore whatsoever at all, that I just look at it as a waste of time, and I don't believe in Bernie Sanders. The more I've tried to give him a chance, and I've listened to him on Tom Hartman and checked out some of his older stuff, and like, he just does not seem like an intelligent, inspiring guy to me at all. First of all, he has a horrible grasp of the English language in terms of, at least when he's speaking publicly and on the radio. He says more sentences that do not make sense grammatically than anyone I've ever heard. And it's like, you can infer the meaning usually, but he just sounds like an idiot a lot of the time to me. You've noticed that, right, Andrea?
Yeah, he does. He seems to string his words together without any regard for how his sentence will end.
Yeah, it's like he starts the first half of a sentence and then just kind of takes a left turn and doesn't feel the need for like the subject and preposition to be in any way related. Just,
He's hyping people up. And
right.
The troops, the flag, troops.
No more wars. That bird was a dove asking us for world peace. No more wars.
Yeah.
What a hack thing to do. That was that bird video I talked about at the last show.
Yeah.
I know you guys probably saw that video and probably thought the same thing I did. Is just like, what a bunch of childlike morons losing their minds over a
Scary.
It's scary, right?
Yes.
It really reminded me, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it really reminded me of a second grade class at an assembly. Like any little distraction, because at the end of the day, they're sitting there listening to this fucking boring old guy talk and talk and talk. They're like, a bird. Oh my God. Yeah, it is. It was just so weirdly childlike. That's the only word I can think of.
And then Bernie Sanders desperately tries to make it into a political statement and makes the blatant statement of no more wars.
Yeah, no more wars. Okay.
Oh my God. Why has nobody thought of that?
Right? Holy shit.
What the fuck, guys? Come on.
All the other politicians are out there saying more wars. This guy's finally nailed it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is appealing to the American public's natural lust for continuation of war.
How did we miss this option?
Everybody, what it just came out that there's an old video where Bernie Sanders is praising Fidel Castro and the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, who I think is pretty well documented that the Sandinistas, and I don't know a shitload about it, but I've read a number of times that they were just a brutal regime that kind of in any means necessary sort of thing, that they
incredibly violent.
Yeah, they overthrew the previous dictator, who was his family was in power for about 40 some years, and so they had to be brutal to take care of that business. Fine, but then I think they were the kind of thing that they used an any means necessary policy against any detractors, and silencing them, and of course was all they were a part of the Iran-Contra in that scandal in that we were making deals with the Contras, who was like the main opposition group to the Sandinistas during the 80s. And the Contras were trying to overthrow the Sandinistas. It's all fucking crazy, all totally insane.
Yeah, and enough time has gone by now that there's actually a pretty good amount of information on it.
Right. Well, a lot of it had to be declassified and blah, 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 and had to come out in Senate committee hearings and over the years and stuff. But most people have known for years that whole thing was just soaking in corruption. Like, you have just this weird deal of trading arms to the Contras in exchange for cocaine that you sell to buy more guns to give to radical Islamic groups to fight the Russians, or and overthrow.
Oh, that makes sense.
And overthrow Khomeini. It's like, what the fuck is this plan? Like, yeah, that's the kind of shit that was going on. And the Sandinistas, he's praising because they have this, they were a socialist or communist country, that or government that provided healthcare supposedly and blah blah blah, and never do they address like what was the quality of this so-called free healthcare and this free this and free that, because there's no such thing as free, right?
Right.
We all understand that. So you know what historians have since posed is like this was all largely propped up for PR, you know, and they were actually a brutal totalitarian government that hid behind the guise of like some sort of legitimate Marxism or whatever. So anyways, that's the kind of thing I guess that he's supported over the years. How big of a deal is that? I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't really know either, but he stands so firmly on top of his voting record, you know, and that's what all of his supporters point to too. It's like, oh my God, his voting record. Look at his voting record. It's never changed. But when you start finding these ripples and things that are a little inconsistent, I don't know, does the whole thing start to crumble? Because I think it does.
And I'm not even like really trying to propose yet that Bernie Sanders is some horrible guy, because to me he comes across as pretty honest. He's pretty consistent. Seems like he's worked real hard for what he believes in. I just don't believe in what he believes in at all, you know. However, I think that, you know, people often who are like naturally sort of anti-socialist, which I think we kind of are, based more on just what we know and the way we feel about the general morality of taxation and things like that, and reappropriation of wealth or redistribution of wealth and things like that, right? And it's not because we're educated scholars, but you know, a lot of people will instantly point to like the socialist or communist countries that have descended into some sort of violent hell and this and that, and the ones that don't work well. But there are ones out there that I'm a little more confused by, because if it's so horrible, like I was talking about Sweden earlier to Andrea, a guy posted this meme that was like a picture of Detroit, and it said, oh, this is what it's like to live in a socialist hell. It was like these abandoned buildings and you know, crumbling ruins, and it said, just kidding, that's Detroit. This is a socialist country, Sweden, and everything's all beautiful and sunny and clean. And I'm like, come on, that's bullshit. I can go right now and find pictures of like horrible slums in Sweden. I'm sure of it. And I'm looking for like a half an hour on Google Images and anywhere I can find. I can't find any fucking Swedish like crumbling cities and slums. It just like I couldn't find it. And you know, I was gonna make a meme that's like of a really nice neighborhood in Detroit and a slum in Sweden, and just to be like, look how easy that is. Come on, you know. But it really wasn't there. And I'm like, is Sweden really that fucking nice? I'm like, you're going to like Stockholm slum, and the stuff I'm seeing, I'm like, that doesn't look very bad. Like, just doesn't. It's just, I don't know. So how nice is Sweden, Andrea?
Super nice from everything I can find. You told me that, and I kind of didn't believe you. So I started trying to find pictures of Swedish slums. No, but there are little shanty towns like in the woods. But like that's like the worst thing I could find.
That's exactly what I found. Is like, yeah, it's like a bunch of fucking homeless people that set up some tents or something outside of the city somewhere.
Yeah, anyway, well, they're supposedly some of the happiest people in the entire world.
Yeah,
are the Swedes.
You always hear that. And they have a socialist government, right?
Yes.
So I guess my point is, maybe it's not the economic system that matters as much as some other factors, you know, such as who's really in control behind the scenes, maybe, or things like that.
Well, to me, it seems like the biggest difference is the culture of money and using money as a status symbol, because people in Sweden don't generally have very much money, but they also don't generally care very much about money.
Because it's not a reflection of success, I guess.
Exactly.
But see, then what is a reflection of success?
Who cares?
Okay.
How about a fully functional society and community and happiness? Because apparently they value happiness a lot there.
Okay, then why does the whole world listen to American music, wear American clothing styles, emulate us in so many ways, and I've never heard of anybody from fucking Sweden, and I only know one city there. That might sound like a stupid question, but I feel like it's a testament to the society that we built here, which is staunchly capitalist in a lot of ways, and the fact that there was a motivation for innovation and success here that like really drove a lot of industries to be the best in the world, at least for a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, they have a much wider reach in terms of mass media and shit like that. It might just be that they have the influence.
Who, Americans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing
But
too is
why would that be? You know what I mean? It's that way for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it just because also, like, as a music fan, okay, what's better than American music? And not necessarily better at, because everyone has their own definition, but I'm saying, like, there's a reason the whole world listens to hip hop, and hip hop exists in every small town in every fucking country in the world at this point. And the reason is it's really cool, and it's really fun, and it's fun to do. It's fun to get involved in. It's a good exercise for your brain. Kids all over the world are writing rhymes and focusing on something positive when they're living in poverty and could be, making really bad decisions and doing horrible things. Hip hop is just a great mind exercise that really helps structure your brain. I know it from personal experience, and I'm just saying that's a purely American music, right? Had very little outside influence until recent years, and
yes.
and rock and roll, same thing. Why did that go to every corner of the earth? I don't think it's just because TV pushed it. I think it's because it was really the coolest fucking thing going on.
Okay.
So what are we talking about?
Yeah, I feel like we got.
Is that what success is?
No, I'm just talking about why is American like innovation and the drive to be financially successful? Why has it produced so many things that influenced every corner of the world because of how unique and cool they were? Blue jeans, anything. You could go on and on.
I think a lot of it also has to do with the money that's driving it and the obsession to get money and have more money.
Right. So there's negatives,
and that's part of American culture.
Then there's negatives and positives, is what I'm saying. I guess the theme of this whole thing. But would you rather live in an environment where there was much less motivation for success and innovation, because like your needs are provided and blah blah blah, and or would you rather live in an environment that was more chaotic but had way higher highs and lower lows?
I wish I could flip back and forth.
Yeah. when you're fucking tired and sick, you live in like a socialist country. You're just like, this is easy for this week.
Yeah.
And then come back here when you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Just pick every day. Like, what should life be like today?
Yeah.
Well, one day we'll all be living in a pod, just interfaced with some kind of virtual reality, and we'll figure that whole thing out.
And it'll be great.
Yeah, you can just choose your government for the day.
Yeah. I've never thought of it that way. But
well, that's one of the main arguments of capitalism always is it drives innovation,
Yeah.
And
however, what's preventing me from using the innovation that occurs elsewhere in the world and also living a life where I'm taken care of?
It's to me, it all comes down to the taxation as theft principle, and a lot of people make fun of that at this point. But, and I understand why you do, and you think some of it's necessary, and I don't even maybe disagree with parts of that argument, but I don't know a way around the basic concept that taking money from someone without their permission or consent is theft. I can't see a way around it.
You gave your permission and consent when your parents created a straw man for you.
That's the whole thing, is they say, like, well, you give your consent by living in society. I'm like, I don't have a choice. Well, leave then. To go where? How? With what money? How the fuck am I supposed to leave? What are you talking about? I hate that argument. I've lived here my whole life. I've never had one fucking, one solid year period in my adult life where I didn't have to fucking struggle hard at some point. I've been struggling this entire time, not to get a plane ticket out of here just to be able to survive. So whatever, man. But I still, for some reason, I don't like the idea of socialism. It creeps me out. And like I said to you earlier, Andrea, somebody show me free water, and I will fucking consider anything else that you want to consider socializing. We don't pay enough taxes to get free water. We're all paying individual water bills, right? Why do you think that is, Andrea? Why do you think we're all paying individual water bills?
Well, because water is expensive.
Well, no. Guess
Well, because somebody has to sell it to us.
no. Because
Because it's scarce.
because
Because it doesn't just grow on trees, Vinny.
right. I'll tell you why that you don't want to pay everyone else's water bill. Because a farmer who uses hundreds of gallons of water every couple of days or whatever to water a huge fucking field of crops uses way more water than you, who just have a couple glasses and boil some noodles and take a shower or whatever. If you shower, none of us do, but if you whatever, you know what I mean? And it would instantly become this thing of like, they're not paying their fair share, why should I? Like, there's where capitalism comes in, right? Because it's really not fair to split everything evenly when people are doing uneven amounts of work and consuming uneven amounts of resources. So show me a place where you just pay taxes and you don't get a water bill, and then I'll believe socialism could possibly work in this country. And part of it might be, like you're saying, Andrea, is the mentality about money, and we don't have the ability to break that construct then, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there.
Do you want to pay, you get a water bill, and I live upstairs from a restaurant that probably uses literally 1,000 times the amount of water I do. So do I want to pay the same amount of my taxes for water as they do? Well, I guess so, if I'm not selfish, right? So sure, let's do free water. Might as well.
Will the socialization benefit you in some way that it would be detrimental to somebody else? Like, what if everybody paid a tax on cat food and you have 2 cats to feed, but your restaurant below doesn't have any cats to feed, and
Right.
they're paying for your 2 cats to
Well,
eat?
that's why I use water, because it's the most simple fucking thing. It's the only
Right.
It's the only thing everyone needs. Completely, everyone has to have it all the time. You need to have water every day. So why is that not the first thing? Why is it healthcare? Why is it education? Why is it this and that? Fucking water. And get the fucking fluoride out of it, you assholes. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah. So with healthcare, though, when it goes completely socialized, then you have no choice of what doctor you go to, right? And with most socialized healthcare, it's
I don't think that's completely true, but
Well,
you have less choice, I guess, yeah.
yeah. And you were saying earlier too, most systems are set up so that the most dire cases are taken first, and if you don't have something super life-threatening or super serious, you can wait for a year.
Dude, that's what I've heard. And I don't know, but what I've heard over and over again is, yeah, people like Americans in socialist countries especially have a really hard time getting some treatment for something kind of simple, And whereas maybe if they had something life-threatening, they'd be able to. But like if your back hurts, you, I guess, could wait a long time. That's what I've heard. I don't know.
Yeah, well, but you know what else? If my back hurts, I don't see a doctor.
Yeah, but
because I don't have insurance.
Some people might need to. Okay, I know, but therein lies the whole question. Like, do you want to see these insurance companies that work side by side with pharmaceutical and medical supply companies to keep these prices at fucking astronomical levels, to that when it's really not necessary or fair at all? Do you want to see them enter a contract with the government that ensures them that every citizen becomes their fucking customer? Or would you rather see the whole thing overthrown and reformed and a resurgence of natural medicine and things like that, and doctors who work by the Hippocratic Oath and actually give away a lot of treatment like they're supposed to and things, you know what I mean? Like, do you want to see this whole thing just expanded and well, this whole idea that, well, what it is like the insurance companies haven't been getting enough money, so prices are skyrocketing based on these uninsured things that taxpayers have to cover. So taxpayers should just preemptively all be forced to bet against their own health collectively. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And I know there's other aspects like doing away with, barring people with pre-existing conditions and things like that, and that's fine. There's always good stuff in a bill.
Yeah, or else it would never get through.
But to me, it's just a Band-Aid that's gonna hurt us a lot more in the long run. It's like a Band-Aid that you dipped in sulfuric acid, put it on your arm.
You know what I want to do? I want to go to a doctor and be like, here's the thing that I need a doctor for. And then have him give me treatment and then be like, why don't I do your laundry tomorrow to trade you for this service? Like something I can do instead of money because it's never enough money. I just want to trade everything.
So you want to live in
I want to live in like a tiny 100-person town that has a 100-foot wall going all the way around it so that nobody can get in or out.
A lot of people say that though, that kind of barter system, it can only work on a really small scale. Because I think it always will be the case though that you're like in a system like that, you're like, what's so annoying is I want one of those, but I don't have any fucking thing that guy wants. So now I have to come up with this like 3 or 4 person exchange where everybody's getting something they want. Man, it would be so cool if we just had some sort of fucking credit system that we used so that and then you just invent money again. And like
my example to pay for healthcare was to do laundry. Right. I would be useless. They would never let me into that town.
No, yeah, right.
I'm not even very good at laundry.
They would stop you at the gate and be like, "Well, what can you offer us? I can do your laundry if you save my life." Like, okay, turn around and walk off, bitch.
Keep walking.
No admittance. Hey, you know what we got to mention because I keep forgetting? Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I never realized this. We're both big supporters of Robert Byrd. And he was a Democrat as well, of course, because
obviously
they're fine, good, liberal, compassionate people, and he had a long. I think what Bill Clinton referred to as a fleeting affiliation with the KKK. Andrea, did you grab like a little overview of his life and career so we can just get to know who Robert Byrd is really quick? And then I really want you to read that letter that he wrote too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. He has served in the House or the Senate for since 1952. He was first elected into the National House of Representatives.
Right. He's dead now, by the way. He's been dead for a long time, but
he served until 2010.
I thought he died before that. Okay. So
oh no. Yeah, he was last in office in 2010. Anyway, he did have what I would describe as a fleeting affair with the Ku Klux Klan.
Mm-hmm. As so many U.S. politicians did of that era.
Yeah. He in the 40s, he started his own chapter of the KKK with 150 people in West Virginia.
He quite obviously just had his toe dipped into the whole philosophy.
Right, yeah. I mean, he couldn't have possibly really felt strongly about it.
No, and it was just, he's a politician. He wanted to get supporters in West Virginia or wherever he was. Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah, okay.
And he claims that he was only involved with the KKK for roughly a year.
Right.
However, in 1944, he wrote a letter to Senator Theodore Bilbo, which I will get to, who was a segregationist Mississippi senator.
Right.
And then in 1946, he wrote a letter to a KKK Grand Wizard.
By the way, no doubt he was a Democrat, too.
Right.
I mean, that's what I don't think most Democrats realize is the fucking horribly racist history of your party that really changed a very short time ago.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So anyway, in 1946, he wrote a letter to a grand wizard talking about how the Klan is needed more than before, anxious to see its rebirth here in West Virginia and every state in the nation. So that was 6 years after he started his own chapter. But in 1997, he says, let's see. He issued a statement, be sure you avoid the Ku Klux Klan. Don't get that albatross around your neck. Once you've made that mistake, you'll inhibit your operations in the political arena. I'm sorry, he served for 50 years after starting his own chapter.
Dude, and the idea that like anybody who is just sort of experimenting or exploiting a large voter base would start their own chapter. Like, no, you were a passionate Klan member.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely,
come on.
he was.
Come on.
So the letter he wrote to the segregationist Mississippi senator, Theodore G.
yeah.
Bilbo. Okay, so this is 1944, allegedly 3 years after he was no longer affiliated with the Klan.
Now, let's not forget, this was an American statesman. It's someone that you ought respect. After all, the president said so. I mean, come on. Great people like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton wouldn't support a complete scumbag, right? And so everybody who constantly fucking is paranoid and looking for racism everywhere, well, hey, look at Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. This is the man they supported. Andrea, let's hear this nice, compassionate man's letter.
I shall never fight in the armed forces with a Negro by my side. Rather, I should die 1,000 times and see Old Glory trampled in the dirt, never to rise again, than to see this beloved land of ours become degraded by race mongrels, a throwback to the blackest specimen from the wilds.
Is that it?
That's all it's.
Okay. Well, what a great progressive man who served in the Senate until 2010. Awesome.
Forward thinking, definitely represents who I am.
Yeah. I think they tend to make like vague references to well, he overcame his transgressions as a youth and whatever. Like really. That shows you just the fucking scumminess of political parties. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about morality, consistency. They don't give a fuck about any of it at all. It's all about being in the winning, the winning corporate team, which is Republican and Democrat working together to completely fucking scam everyone. So fuck everybody. All these people. Listen to Bill.
All of them.
Listen to Bill Clinton talk about this guy. Hold on.
There are a lot of people who wrote these eulogies for Senator Byrd in the newspapers, and I read a bunch of them, and they mentioned that he once had a fleeting association with a Ku Klux Klan. And what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. He was a country boy from the hills and hollows of West Virginia. He was trying to get elected. And maybe he did something he shouldn't have done, and he spent the rest of his life making it up. And that's what a good person does. There are no,
what is it about black people that you don't like?
Politicians.
Today, our country has lost.
All right, yeah, this is Hillary. Do you want to hear Hillary talk for a second?
Of course.
I know you love that.
I love
a true
her.
American original, my friend and mentor, Robert C. Byrd. Senator Byrd was a man of surpassing eloquence and nobility. And I will remember him for many things, but most of all, for a heartfelt comment he made to me in the dark days following the attack on our country on 9/11.
Oh, yeah. Got to invoke 9/11.
9/11.
Sorry, I couldn't get the crowd applause up fast enough for that.
My state of New York was reeling, and we were scrambling to provide support and relief. Think of me as the third senator from New York, he said, and he meant it. thanks to the leadership of Senator Byrd, who chaired the Appropriations Committee, New Yorkers and Americans got the help we needed.
Well, if 9/11 was the Beatles of terrorist attacks, then Robert Byrd was the George Martin of 9/11. Hillary later, and only you'll have to maybe play that back to get it. That made sense. I swear to God. She then went on to say this.
I believe in white supremacy.
So that all made a lot of sense. But yeah, she really is a scumbag. Bill Clinton is a scumbag. Barack Obama is a scumbag. None of these people care about you. And for the way they try to drum up, racist affiliations anywhere they can, you would think this would be fucking big news to the Democrats, that you would think they might go, holy shit, we've been supporting the wrong people. But no, well, he renounced his KKK affiliation and blah, like, so did David.
Plus, I never really said I liked him.
So did David Duke, and guess what? He's way further to the right, so he's still called KKK, member David Duke. David Duke, from what he says, spent a lot less time in the KKK than Robert Byrd. He says Robert Byrd was a covert member for a long, long time, but and he says the same shit. He's like, yeah, it was stupid. I was young. I didn't really know anything. It was dumb. I just kind of went with the culture around me, and I wish I never did that. And yet David Duke is still completely demonized everywhere.
Well, because that's just what a racist would say.
Yeah, a secret lizard racist.
Yeah. Well, okay, wait. Speaking of Hillary being a scumbag, it's worth mentioning, I think, that she will no longer debate Bernie Sanders.
Oh, I know. He's
until
too mean.
He stops being mean.
Right. Did she really say that?
I guess, yeah.
What did he say that was mean?
It's probably something about how he deserves the nomination instead of her.
Something about her super PACs.
Something about her super PACs, yeah. It was really nasty.
Yeah. He said her tits were shaped like pears. Old hag. That would be so. How great would it be if he just came out one day like, my main problem with Miss Clinton, my esteemed colleague who stands next to me on this stage, is her cunt really smells. And she doesn't shave. Okay.
Oh boy.
Awesome.
You know what? She actually requested that overall Bernie Sanders changes his tone.
Yeah, sure.
And as of 8 hours ago, she apparently has agreed to debate him on Good Morning America after he rejected 3 proposed debate dates for New York.
Well, after all, that's what the American people deserve, is a Good Morning America debate. I'm sure that'll be fucking interesting.
Yeah.
We'll really get deep into some issues there. All right, so we had everybody's been sharing this thing about a Donald Trump supporter pepper spraying some chick. And we've all seen the video. If you haven't seen it, it's easy to find. And I haven't heard anybody mention the fact that she clearly punched the guy first. Like they're like arguing back and forth, and she reaches over somebody and punches him, or tries to punch him, and then he pepper sprays her. I don't even know if it was a guy with the pepper spray. Do you?
No, I don't know. It looks like a man's hand.
It kind of does, yeah. But so really, no, it's not good to pepper spray some fucking dumb chick that tries to hit you. It's really not necessary. And I'm sure that the guy was like really hoping that somebody would do something to him that day so he could spray him. I have no doubt. But, it's also fair to mention, like, what was the initial act of aggression? Would she have gotten pepper sprayed if she didn't hit somebody? Probably not. So what's really who's really right or wrong in that situation? Everyone.
Now, the girl has claimed that a man in the crowd groped her and she was pushing him away.
No, I watched the video. That's not what happened.
Well, that's what she's saying happened.
Yeah. I mean, if that happened before the camera was on or something, she clearly, if she needed to get away from the guy, she had every opportunity, and there was people trying to block her, and she like reached over them to punch him.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that the guy probably said some asshole shit. So did she probably. Probably all a bunch of fucking morons. And she got sprayed. Big damn deal. Doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? I just don't care. Gives a shit.
It's no, who cares?
We got Sarah
I don't
Palin,
care.
Sarah
Some
Palin
bitch.
audio talking about the immigration problem on the
What
Mexican
the heck
border.
are you thinking, candidates? What are you thinking when you're going ahead and you're actually asking for more immigrants, even illegal immigrants, welcoming them in, even inducing and seducing them with gift baskets? Come on over the border and well, here's a gift basket of teddy bears and soccer balls. What are you thinking? It's just inviting more. Yeah, candidates, they can say anything that they want to about immigration, amnesty, but actions scream so much louder than a politician's words. Take the Gain of 8 bill to increase foreign workers by 500.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
What did that mean? Was that a joke?
I don't.
The soccer balls and teddy bears.
Yeah. I think that was supposed to just be like, you know, hey, they're offering them all these benefits, and I think she was trying to like put it in some kind of cutesy, like alliterative sense. I that's the only thing I can think of. Like,
Yeah,
what is she going for?
They represent the goodies that they would get.
Right, yeah. And then I saw this shared as like, Sarah Palin literally suggests that people are luring Mexicans across the border with baskets of soccer balls. By the way, she put that horribly. What kind of fucking basket fits soccer balls in it? And like, what do you, like, I guess.
Yeah, what are you giving them, 2 soccer balls
unless she's
stacked up on top of each other?
Yeah, right. Just balancing on top of a basket. And then you've got to balance that out in the dark on the border. And like, come here, Felipe. Come on, that's right. I got 2 soccer balls for you. And a teddy bear.
It's safe.
You got teddy bears? Like, yeah. Come on. Okay, I'll be right over. But
Seducing them.
They're right. You know what she means, I guess, is like, yeah, they're offering like benefits and you can come have your baby for free and whatever people complain about. I don't know. I can't ever get too mad about the illegal immigration thing. I don't really care that much.
No,
you know
neither.
that's one thing I noticed in the libertarian debates is none of them seemed to think immigration was a big problem at all. None of them gave a shit about it. That was a big theme. They're like, you know, don't build walls, build highways. Let's do better business with each other and have better integration of our societies, you know. And then other people say, well, the cartels are going to stream over. But see, the libertarians' perspective is, look, without a drug war, we don't have that problem. So right. let's address all these things, you know.
Well, and I'll bet a lot of them also understand the way the American government is involved in cartels.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
We weaken their influence by doing it directly.
Sure. Let's see. What else do we got here? Bill and Hillary, we did that. Sarah Palin. Anything else from the election or no? We did it?
No, I think that's all of our fucking president stuff.
Yeah, I hate it.
How much more of this is there? I hate
a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah. I have something totally illegible written as our next thing in my notebook. Do you know what it is?
Cops.
Cop. Okay. I'm like, what the fuck did I write here? You know what?
Anything.
First, let's do who's lobbying against marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Who are the top 5 groups lobbying against marijuana legalization? So the first one we've got is police unions. Okay.
Why?
Well, because Andrea, police, and this is from alibertarianfuture.com. Police unions are lobbying against marijuana legalization because they know that writing people tickets and arresting them for possession justifies their jobs. They're constantly patrolling and locking people up because the war on drugs will never end. They arrest nonviolent marijuana users, which keeps the crime rate artificially high and justifies hiring more officers. This makes it seem like they're needed that's a really good point, actually. And I don't know why I never really thought of that. But people talk about crime rates and how much crime is completely victimless. You know, even in supposed like
Most of it.
high crime areas, you know?
Yeah.
So this makes it seem like they're needed. Going back to the article, this makes it seem like they're needed and are doing their jobs. In reality, it's quite the contrary. They're really just wasting time that should be spent catching violent offenders, solving murders, rapes, and robberies. That would actually make us safer. And that's true. The fucking amount of murders that are solved is like pathetically low. We've talked about it before. What is it, 15% or something?
Yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. But next is prison guard unions. And for the obvious reasons, you know, they have an interest in preserving their job too. And without the war on drugs, of course, most prisons would be almost empty.
Yeah.
You know.
Almost all of them.
Which leads to the next one, private prisons, of course. Private prisons. Let's see. Companies that operate private prisons also lobby against marijuana and drug legalization because these nonviolent offenders make up such a high percentage of their inmates. Yeah, this is all obvious. Liquor companies I didn't see coming. In a corporatist system, the best way to limit your competition is to pass a law against their very existence. That's why liquor companies have been lobbying against legalization the longest. Shit, I didn't know that.
Me neither.
That's crazy.
It's in their direct interest to keep alternative euphoric substances off the market. Fuck, do we have to boycott alcohol now?
No.
That sucks.
We'll just make our own.
Dude, that's bullshit for drug dealers too. That's just bad practice. No other drug dealer would do that. Like, you know, the coke dealer doesn't fucking tell you not to smoke weed. Fucking heroin dealer doesn't tell you not to do ecstasy. You know, the fuck.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical companies, drug companies, things like that. Number 5. Obvious. I guess I could have seen that one coming. They'd rather sell you Marinol, says this article, than let you grow your own marijuana and consume it freely. Of course.
Marijuana is hard to grow.
And it might actually cure things that that they could instead sell you synthetic products that will never cure you. You know, it's such an obvious point, but it can't be said enough. You know, the pharmaceutical companies look at a cured patient as a lost customer. So never forget that. Never forget that, young Andrea, as you go through life.
I think what's so weird is that, so it's been excuse me, it's been proven at this point that marijuana does not impede your ability to drive. And if it does, it's marginal.
Fuck, I've been proving that every day for 16 years.
Yeah. But there are laws against drinking and driving. Like, to me, that's the most obvious comparison of how dangerous each one is, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even care that, you know, people die from drinking too much liquor. Like, I think the easier illustration is, can you drive?
Right. Yeah.
And you can't on Vicodin or any of that shit either.
No way.
Or can you do so much of it that you die? How about that?
Vicodin?
Yeah.
No, alcohol versus weed, I'm saying. Like,
right.
Yeah. Is it possible to overdose on it? Okay, then it's worse.
Alcohol is the only drug that the withdrawal will actually kill you too.
I know, that's fucked up, right? Heroin, nothing else. Alcohol, and I don't even really get why that is. Is it because of how much it like realigns the way your organs work? Because I know it does horrible things to your liver and your spleen, obviously, and everybody knows that, pancreas and stuff, that it like causes it to stop making certain chemicals or causes your body to like reconvert certain things for energy that it wouldn't normally do and stuff like that. Is that, and then you remove the alcohol and your organs don't know how to work anymore without it? Like,
it's something like, yeah, your body gets used to doing shit a certain way with the alcohol, and then when it's withdrawn, it freaks out. I don't know what it is, if it's your organs or something with your nervous system or what.
I think it has to do with your nervous system. Also, I think it's blood pressure.
Is that what it is? We don't know anything.
I don't know.
But it's the only one that'll kill you.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, dude, look at what's legal: alcohol and cigarettes. People argue that like heroin is scary or this and that. I'll tell you why it's not. Is because most people wouldn't fucking enjoy heroin if they tried it. You know, like I've tried it and I was just like, dude, this is like, you know, I've tried it 5 or 6 times. And to quote David Cross, you know, what did he say? Every time I do heroin, I realize that it's the last time I'm going to, or something like that. I'm butchering it, but it is. You're like, every time you do it, you're like, dude, this is fucking horrible. Like, I'm sick and tired and I can't do anything. It's like hard to talk to anyone. Like, man, it just does not agree with me. And I would have to think most people would kind of think the same thing. You really just wouldn't just get addicted. Most people just wouldn't get addicted to that. Wouldn't get addicted to crack because it sucks. It's fucking scummy and horrible. Alcohol and cigarettes are these kind of things that seem okay. They don't hurt you right away. You know, nothing is that bad about it at first, and then it gets worse and worse. And they really are the more dangerous, you know, the most dangerous of any drugs, I think.
I think so too. Those and refined sugar I put in the same category.
Do you?
Or it like seems fun and then you just end up dead as a result of it. Cigarettes are only fun like the first 4 you smoke and you get kind of like...
No, dude, it's like the first 6 months are pretty good. That's what I would say. Because I just went through it again. You know, I had quit for 3 years and then started up again. And I don't know if I even talked about that on the show ever, actually, that I just started smoking again after fucking 3+ years of not doing it. But the first 6 months of that were real nice. I was like walking around on porches, drinking coffee, and having a nice slow drag on a cigarette and enjoying the taste of it and stuff. And by now it's been about 10 months or whatever. I'm just, this is horrible again. You know, I want to stop. 6 months, it was nice. It was like a commercial from the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting lots of fresh air, going on walks.
Teeth completely perfectly white, you know?
Yeah.
Just, my clothes
you can like taste your food.
My clothes are clean and women respect me.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But
what?
I don't know. I was thinking about going back to smoking cigarettes and what that would be like. I can't imagine it because I have a really bad imagination.
I tried smoking cigarettes, but I couldn't do it. It made me sick to my stomach every single time. I almost threw up.
Yeah, you've told me
unless I was drunk.
You've told me that before, that you like actually wanted to be a smoker because you thought it was cool, but like you couldn't do it.
I could not do it. No.
I feel like I kind of had to force myself into it the first time too.
Yeah, I think everybody, if they're honest, it really wasn't pleasant the first few times. I remember I had already smoked weed for a couple of years before I ever tried a cigarette. And
me too.
And so the first time somebody gave me a cigarette, I'm like, fuck it, I'll try this. And I hit it like a joint, like, you know, like as hard as I could, like off, and like breathed it back in like as hard, and was gonna like hold it, and then was just like, oh, fucking Christ. You know, I've only seen people smoke. Smoke cigarettes my entire life. I had no idea that it wasn't a joint. I don't know what was wrong with me, but that's the only thing I had smoked before. And I was crying, like just fucking coughing and crying, like, okay, all right, give me another one.
I can do this.
I can do this.
I started smoking right when like exotic flavors were really popular. Like Camel had like 20 different like fruit flavored cigarettes. So that eased the pain a lot.
That was how they got all of us. They did like Turkish Golds and Turkish Royals, and those were totally marketed to kids, like with this artwork on tins and everything, and these like sweet flavors and stuff. That was completely how they got me and all my friends was those like Camel.
Yeah, it was all Camel.
Camel cigarettes for kids. They've always been good at that.
Mint chocolate, coconut.
Dude, I remember when I was a little kid, there was like a big, I don't remember what it was, if it was a class action lawsuit or something. Maybe, Andrea, you can find this in the break, but Camel was eventually ordered to stop using Joe the Camel in their, because remember they had a leather jacket Camel that would stand with sun. He was like the Fonz. He was like the Camel Fonz, and they were ordered by who? I don't know. We'll find out when we come back from the break to stop using it. I remember that was a huge deal when I was a little kid, and I was pissed off. I'm like, I love Joe the Camel. My mom's like, yeah, that's the problem, idiot. Yeah. So we'll be back on the Overdose in a few minutes. David Box, are you going to bed or are you hanging out?
I probably should go to bed. I'm
All
sorry.
right. Me and Andrew will be back. See you guys in a minute.
Bye.
All right. Coming back here on the Overdose Talk Show. Andrew, are you here?
Yeah, I was really enjoying that music.
Yeah, dude. I've been into this record lately.
Good old Ruggles beat.
This is a band called Klaatu. Klaatu. Let's see. I just picked up this record. Was just in a collection that I bought, and never seen it before, never heard of it before. Not sure when or where it's from, but check them out. Klaatu. That's I guess a reference to the day the Earth stood still, which I think is part of that. But did you figure out what happened to Joe Camel?
Yeah, the FTC, Federal Trade Commission,
Right.
Charged the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, saying that it illegally aimed its Joe Camel advertising campaign at minors.
Well, it
So
totally.
it was the FTC made him stop.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. It was pretty. But yeah, but then Camel just starts. A few years later, they figured out how to keep marketing to kids. Now there's the Camel Crush. Like, what a weird gimmick. No legitimate smoker wants those cigarettes. They're good.
I know several people who smoke those.
I know, but I still think they're marketed to kids. I know, that, but like, do you know anybody who's like a reasonable, level-headed person that smokes those?
No.
I feel like only crazy people would have those. That's the ones that you crush the fucking thing in the middle of the cigarette and it changes to a menthol. Like, why do you want that? No, you either smoke one or the other.
Well,
because if
you want the first half to be non-menthol.
If I bum them to people, then if they smoke menthols, they can have them. Like, you're just trying to impress black people. Why don't you just smoke what you smoke?
That's all it is.
Yeah. You white knight of cigarette bumming.
It turns into a black person's cigarette.
Look, I'm so multicultural.
Yeah.
Whatever what we're doing. Let's do some cop stuff. We've got this first article. Albuquerque cop Greg Brackley accidentally shoots undercover Jacob Grant 9 times. Do we have the story about what was going on here?
They were in pursuit. Let's see. Lieutenant Greg Brachy got out of a pickup truck, approached a black car with tinted windows, and when the person he thought was a suspect opened one of the rear doors, he just started shooting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's we've got the audio from this, and there's video too, but the video sucks. Like, you can't really see what's going on. It's a body cam, and it's like covered up most of the time.
Hands up! Hands up! Passenger, get your hands up! Put your hands where I can see them! Put your hands where I can see them! Good! 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 Get out! Holly, back out! Holly, back out! Holly, back out! Oh, that was Jacob! Me! Are you okay?
No. Did you hear that? And are you okay? No. You shot me 9 times. Fucking idiot. Back that up a second. Oh, wait. Sorry. Hold on.
Oh, that was Jacob! Me! Are you okay? Come on out, dude! Come on! I'm sorry, man! I didn't know it was you! Come here, Jacob! Jacob, let's go! Jake.
Here, one of you.
Jake, get mad at you in there, bro. I thought you were a bad guy.
I thought you were a bad guy.
I thought you were a bad guy.
Oh my god. Jacob, I'm so sorry. I just shot you at close range 9 times. You all right? Fucking moron. And, you know, you thought he was a bad guy. Well, he was wearing a costume trying to ruin the lives of people who were just attempting to make voluntary consensual transactions with other adults, i.e. selling drugs. And you were attempting to infiltrate their circle wearing a costume and assuming a fake persona in order to ruin their lives. I'd say, sir, that perhaps you were the bad guy. Uh-huh. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
yeah, I love how he says that too.
What?
Not, oh, I thought you were the guy we were after, or no,
you're a
just
bad guy.
guy.
Fucking idiot pigs. God. So obviously very satisfying video if you fucking hate police. Pretty cool.
He got hit in the line. I'm sorry, man.
He got hit alive.
Usually we only have a 10-to-1 hit ratio on bullets we fire. Cops are always firing 97 bullets and hitting somebody 11 times. What the fuck are you doing? What was that? All right. Well, they shot the right guy in my opinion.
Yeah. Hooray.
Fuck them. Okay. So now we got this video. This happened right by where we grew up. College of DuPage. I assume up there in Glen Ellen, right? This is a campus.
Glen Ellen, yep, the community college.
This is a campus policeman there in Glen Ellen, Illinois. I guess he's about to tell some kids here that what is the deal? They're handing out pocket constitutions or something.
Yeah, and he tells them that they need to get a permit to do that.
Right, and I'm not like this anymore, but I used to be the type of person to hand out a pocket constitution. I was totally into that kind of shit. Now I just look at the whole thing as sort of a joke. Like, you know, the Constitution has never been honored by our government. Why are we sitting here pretending that we have rights? It's just kind of fucking stupid. But shouldn't obviously be anything that you get in trouble for, you know. So let's check this out. What happens?
That's correct, and they do have rules. So, but you got to go into the student life and see if you can get a permit to do so. You can't just do it whenever you want.
So, just like, excuse me, is there what is your guys' rules for the you know, doing this kind of stuff on campus? What are your guys' rules?
I just told you. You got to go to public. You got to go to the student's life.
You got to go to the student life now. Do they
give you a permit to do so.
So you need a permit to.
Yeah, we can't because you can't have everybody out here doing this. Okay, otherwise you'd have stuff lined up all along here. Everybody have a different view and a different point. So you can't do it.
So like free speech.
It's not free speech, man. Nobody's stopping you from free speech, but you can't solicit out here. What you are, you're soliciting? You're soliciting your opinions. Okay, and that you need to go get a permit. Just go inside.
Is it a commodity in any way? Like is speech a commodity?
Well, on campus and stuff like that. So that's exactly what it would be.
But what's the permit for that we need exactly?
Yeah. Why don't you go talk to student life?
Okay.
But you can't do it out here. Otherwise, I'm going to lock you up.
Okay.
I don't want it to come to that.
So it's the signs or is it the flyer?
So you're passing out stuff.
I asked for it though.
They're soliciting it. I mean, you approached them because they were here doing it. If they weren't here, you wouldn't have approached them.
Okay, so like political speech.
I've talked to you before. I've talked to you before, I believe, in the past. I think it was last semester I've talked to you. I think so. I think I remember getting a sticker.
Well, I know for a fact because I probably would have been pretty upset about that.
So, and I talked to the other gentleman that you were with earlier at the table out in front.
Cool. Just one more question. So why do we need the permit?
Why don't you go to the student life and ask them?
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Thank you, officer.
I appreciate it. Break it up.
Obviously, an evil group.
Thank you, officer.
Yeah. an evil group of children out there. Is he right about that? Soliciting, you're soliciting your opinion?
No, I don't.
That
think
doesn't.
So.
That seems like the opposite of the definition of that word. Like when you're soliciting, you're trying to solicit something from someone else, right? It's a word that's used all the way from like trying to get money for a product, like this guy said. Is this a commodity? Are we selling this? No. Like you could be soliciting an opinion or from someone, right? But you don't solicit your own opinion by freely offering it.
No.
Am I right about that?
Not at all. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Okay. So this cop's an idiot.
Also,
I guess.
wait. And the cop also said, well, if we let you guys do this, we're going to get a bunch of people all having different thoughts all lined up here.
I mean, after all, this is a university, not a place of free exchange of ideas. Now let's rein this in. What kind of university would have people of different views exchanging information? That would be fucking insane.
You guys look so stupid right now.
Is that the kind of world you want to live in, young man? I mean, please. How would anybody be able to navigate this sidewalk, which, by the way, at the time of this video is completely empty? And the one guy you hear, you hear that he says, there's one guy that's holding a pamphlet, and the cop points at him and goes like, "You're giving your opinion out to people or whatever," and the guy's like, "I asked for this pamphlet, I wanted it," and the cop's like, "Well, nevertheless."
You're accepting opinions from other people.
Yes, this is completely out of control.
You're contributing to this.
And no doubt he's just some fucking crony that somebody told him, "Hey, you gotta go break that shit up," and he's just like, "Whatever, dude. I don't give a fuck. You gotta get out of here because they told me that." So, just another idiot, a useful idiot, I suppose.
Yeah.
What else? Cop who leaked video of fellow officers beating innocent man now faces 7 years in prison. A Gold Coast police officer who leaked the CCTV video footage showing police brutality beating an innocent man is now facing 7 long years behind bars. Sergeant Rick Flory is being threatened with 7 years after the leaked video. I hate the way they do this. Like, they just completely repeat the first paragraph in the second paragraph in all these news articles. This is from countercurrentnews.com, which clearly showed fellow officers beating a young man named Noah Begic, B-E-G-I-C, was
Begic.
The guy was handcuffed, and the video basically just showed them beating the shit out of him while he posed no threat whatsoever. I don't remember seeing this video, but I'm sure I did at some point. Footage he revealed was taken in 2012. So, he was charged with misconduct in public office for basically, I guess this is almost sort of like an Edward Snowden sort of thing, where they're claiming, look, this is a breach of security for him to do this. And you can't have this just lawlessness of police just releasing any video they want, obviously, This is a slippery slope to them releasing, what kind of video would it be legitimate for them to not release? I have no idea what kind of video the police could have that wouldn't be of public interest, legitimately. Can you think of anything?
Maybe an interrogation video where they reveal key facts about a murder,
or
that someone could then use to either claim their innocence or try and take credit.
Or what I just thought of is maybe an informant's involvement when something involves like organized crime where they could be killed or something like that. Okay, I guess those would be legitimate,
Yeah.
Great.
Take that.
Whatever. But clearly, this is just an example of a guy who goes against the grain being punished, like we always see.
And we shouldn't see it anymore. I think they're right. We never should have been shown this video. This man should be punished.
Police accountability is a number one priority in the country right now. I say no more police brutality. That's right. Hold police accountable. Oh my
Yay,
God.
Grandpa President.
Grandpa President, save us. Grandpa President. Japan's building a giant...
Oh, Japan is doing a fucking crazy ass thing.
No, it's not. The situation is completely crazy. The Fukushima radiation leak, and it gets generally, it was one of those things that it was overnight 24-hour news story for a couple days, and then it was gone, and the mainstream media really took a while to get to it in the first place, and then they tried to go, oh my God, we're all over this situation, when it really got forced into the mainstream world and spectrum of news by social media. So Japan's now building this giant ice wall. I don't know what my point is there. I'm just saying you never hear about it. You never hear about it anymore, and it seems to be pretty hidden in the media. So now they're building a giant ice wall to contain the radiation. What do you know about this?
Well, what they're trying to do is prevent groundwater from getting contaminated with the radiated water that's leaking.
Okay.
So they're building a wall that will protect a majority of their crops from radiated water. And it's not a wall that comes up out of the ground. It's like a frozen barrier that's going to go down into the ground.
How the fuck are they doing this?
They're freezing the ground.
All right. It's
they're
like
using
a giant refrigeration system that costs 35 billion yen, I guess, $312 million. And they're noting here that it's already more than a year behind schedule, and some experts still aren't convinced it'll work. Well, nothing else they've worked. They just fucking built robots to go down there and try to.
And they all died.
Yeah. What were the robots supposed to do? They were supposed to like remove the how did they put it? I gotta find it in here. They were supposed to remove the melted parts of the melted cores or whatever. There's whatever's driving the radiation. They're supposed to get that and contain it, and the robots just all died of radiation and melted their wires and just completely fried them. So this is the next idea, I suppose.
This has been going on. I didn't realize it's even been this long. 5 years. In March, it was 5 years that this thing has been leaking radiation.
Has it been that long? Shit.
March of 2011 was when it first happened. They had the earthquake and tsunami, and then it started melting down immediately after that.
Seems like only yesterday.
Yeah. Memories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, and you'll recall also at first
the melted.
They were
by the way,
sending
what I was trying to think of was melted fuel rods that the robots were supposed to get out of there. Okay, for all you nuclear physicists, now that gives you some context.
Yeah.
all the well-educated physicists and scientists that listen to our show.
Yeah. Idiots.
What were you saying?
That at first they tried sending the elderly in to start dismantling and trying to contain the radiation because those people were going to die anyway, and there was no reason to send young people.
Did we just make that up, or did they actually do that?
No, they did that. That was their first plan. That was like immediately afterwards.
That sounds like
a joke. Well, and what happened actually...
Like a joke that I would make.
Well, a bunch of old people volunteered. Like people who used to work at the plant and had retired or whatever.
Japanese do not give a fuck about dying. They just, like suicide just becomes like a fucking trend there sometimes. Like people just start jumping off of lovers' leaps, hand in hand all over the place.
Yeah.
Remember that? We talked about that giant phenomenon of like Japanese teen suicide. And they have that suicide forest there too, don't they? Where people all go out and
they
like
do.
Yeah, and just tons of people go out there and
die.
kill themselves. Yeah. Man, they don't give a fuck. But
like you were going to kill yourself? I was going to kill myself.
Yeah, you going, let's carpool. Go out to the forest and hang ourselves all creepy. You see the footage of that suicide forest? It's like, woo, man.
Yeah.
People.
I've seen photos.
Yeah. Yick. Anyways, I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry. Were you going with something?
No, that's okay.
No?
No. No, I'm just thinking about radiation now. So I wonder if this ice wall will even work. Because if the radiation is melting the wires in the robots, don't you think radiated water would eventually get through an ice wall?
I'm no scientist, but it would seem that would be possible.
I ain't no
yeah.
scientist.
Yeah. I'm no big city Tokyo scientist. But it's fancy pants. Let's see. The chairman of Nuclear Regulatory Agency, Shunichi Tanaka, also said, or Shunichi? Yeah, that's probably it. Also said that a lot of the project's success will come down to nature, which is always risky. It would be best to think that natural phenomena don't work the way you would expect. I don't know what the fuck that means. So the refrigeration pipes are now complete, and the Japanese Nuclear Regulation Authority has given the okay for them to be turned on this week, with the goal of freezing the ice wall over the next few months. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. And I guess what else are you gonna do though? I mean, this is a real problem, huh? I remember seeing many months ago, like increased levels of radiation on the California coast and things like that, and they're tracking it, in as it like disseminates across the ocean, and you see the waves of radiation in these maps and stuff. I just kind of stopped thinking about it a long time ago because I think it was too scary, actually.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very scary one. It's also one of those things where so much is pouring into the ocean. It's like the numbers are too big to understand anyway. That's what it always seemed like to me is when I would hear about Fukushima and the implications and this and that. I think like a part of your brain just goes like, no. I can't do this. I can't deal with this. Somebody else is hopefully taking care of that, and hopefully some of it's hype. And, I'm just going to go on about my life now. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Just like you're just tapped out, just like you hear a couple of terrifying things like, nah. But the reality of it is, look at the lengths they're going to try to contain this. This is obviously something that's a huge fucking threat to the environment.
This is pretty real. Yeah. They are apparently trying to freeze a wall near to the ocean to help curb some of the water that's actually flowing into the ocean.
Wall of ground. Do they say how far down it goes?
No, I don't think so. But I assume it's just going to be far enough to keep it out of crops, or just as far as they can get it.
Fucking Christ.
It's creepy. All
right, that's enough terrifying shit for a minute. Let's move on to soldiers. That's enough terrifying stuff. Let's move on to soldiers of God given license to kill in crazy new bill. Is this a real thing?
I think it is. I found it on a couple different sites. But
have you found it in any like real news publications or anything?
No, but it's not. It's just been introduced. So I wonder if it's even worth the attention until it goes a little bit further. Okay.
So should we run with it for a second? Are we thinking that it's not totally fake?
No, I don't think it's totally fake.
Okay, so here's what we got. The state of Mississippi has just passed a law. No, it hasn't passed a law, right?
No.
Okay, this is saying it gives churches and its members as much power as state security forces. The Mississippi Church Protection Act has now legalized all acts of violence, including killing committed by so-called followers of Christ or soldiers of God, also known as Mississippi House Bill 786. To amend Section 97.315, whatever, blah, 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 to provide killing a person while acting as a participant of a church or place of worship security team is justifiable homicide, and for the relate purposes. I assume that meant related. So what do you think? I have a really hard time believing this is real, Andrea, honestly.
I've seen weirder things go through. I feel like Mississippi is the place where you could call it a Church Protection Act and get a lot of support just based on that.
Okay.
The Bible Belt would probably just mostly blindly support something called the Church Protection Act. Don't you think? That was probably a good form of manipulation on what it actually is.
That's generally,
but also,
that is generally how politics works in this country. Is we're going to call a thing this, while the actual intent of it is completely subversive. There's going to be a couple of positive things in it, and we're going to call it something friendly so that you can kind of write off anyone who doesn't support it as whatever, a racist, say, or some shit, you know.
right. But if I had said, hey, Mississippi just passed the Church Protection Act, would you be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense? You know, if that was the first thing you heard about it.
No.
It would be obvious.
But I've spent my entire life being annoyed by Christians, and a lot of people haven't. So the logic behind the bill is explained by Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves is simply that the people in Mississippi should be able to go to church knowing they are safe and that there are adequate measures to protect them. So what is the justification here? This is like as though the idea that being Christian is really dangerous or something, and we have to be able to like protect ourselves and take preemptive action against threats.
They're under attack.
And I assume this is in response to all the hype about Muslims entering the country and stuff like that, right?
No, this has nothing to do with that.
No, absolutely not. There's no history of Christians and Muslims not getting along. That always works out. So they're...
Let's see. Hold on. Ironically, if ultimately signed into law by the governor of Mississippi, this law would legalize something that the U.S. has been trying to fight for a very long time.
Don't
Sharia law.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing that popped into my mind immediately is like how many religions are going to be like part of this, you know, how many are going to get protection for this kind of shit. And I still don't believe this is actually real, honestly. I gotta look into this more.
Now then, look into it.
But you did, and you think it is?
Yes.
Fuck.
It hasn't passed though. It passed in the House and it was approved by the Senate, but it still has to be signed by the governor, so it's not real yet.
Okay. Oh, so it did pass in the House. Gotcha. Man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah. It's it's pretty hilarious though because they are giving Islamists exactly what they need. And it's weird that they use like God's army. They describe God's army in the bill, and Islamic jihadists call themselves soldiers of God.
But
like they,
right? Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a strangely like a strangely kind of hypocritical thing or parallel thing, I guess. Yeah, and it basically would make them like sovereign. Basically, would make them. This even says somewhere in here, sovereign entities. That they already don't pay taxes, you know, and they're going to be conducted by their own laws and immune to facing justice based on the same standards that everyone else is. That's fucking crazy. I forget how religious this country is, because most of the people that I know or people like me know just aren't anymore. You know, most people I know for my entire life haven't been religious. But, you know, I'm from one of those little bubbles in a metropolitan area where that's how people are. And I forget how much of this country is still religious.
Yeah, and then this is going to bring back into light, you know, the like the Church of Cannabis. What really legitimizes a church and a religion in terms of who gets to have their own militia.
Yeah.
Totally,
dude. That's the only thing that makes it all right. Dude, I've been smoking weed.
That's the God I want to worship.
I've been smoking weed every day for fucking 16 years, and I hate stoners still. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Dude. All right, the new episode of new season of Trailer Park Boys is out. Okay, and Doug Benson is in it.
Thank you,
dude. Do you hate Doug Benson?
Yeah, do you not?
Dude, he's fucking terrible. And I've heard him interviewed where he talks about like now he's like the big stoner comedian, and he runs a fucking internet show where he just gets like other comedians and celebrities to smoke weed, and that's like the whole thing is it's weed, weed, and all his comedies just weed. And I think he did that movie Super High Me, right?
Yes.
A long time ago. Just he's supposedly the weed guy, and he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s. I heard him interviewed where he goes, yeah, man, I didn't start smoking weed till I was about 28. Like, so you're basically, he's basically then the equivalent of like when you're 14 and you first start smoking weed and you walk around with your eyes half closed and you're fucking, and you burn out laugh and everything, because you think being a weed guy is really cool.
Yeah.
And like, dude,
and you're always like, come on, why don't we go back to my house and we can smoke?
Like,
I got a bomb.
Because we're smoking right now and not acting like retards.
Yeah.
Dude, like I said,
yeah,
been smoking ever since I was a kid, all the time. Sold fucking weed most of my adult life and stuff, and did all. Dude, I'm all about weed, but I don't like that fucking persona, that stupid burnout shit.
No, it's something that like all new weed smokers go through for like 2 months,
Right.
usually,
not,
and then you
not,
grow out of it.
Not 12 years after you've already been an adult for a long time. Fucking Doug Benson fucking blows, dude, and he's not funny at all. He sucks. So that I was pissed off to see him on Trailer Park Boys. I'm like, you guys like him? Ugh.
No.
You've watched his show, right?
Doug Benson's show?
Yeah. Where he just gets people over to smoke weed, and they just sit there and talk about weed, and you sit there and watch while they smoke weed. Like, this is fucking terrible.
Oh, you know what? I've seen clips of it, but I've never bothered to go any further than that.
Dude,
he's not funny.
It's unwatchable. Hey, you know who's on the phone? My friend Bobby. He was texting me before about some shit, and I'm not sure what's going on. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, man. How are you?
All right. What's going on?
Are we live?
Yeah.
Who's making me? Am I miking?
Yeah, we're on the show.
So yeah, man. I don't know. Did you hear about this at all, or like what? You didn't? You don't read Reddit as much as I do?
I did, and I think I actually have an article.
Hear about what?
I think I have an article here about it.
So 2.6 terabytes of papers and like data were like released. And they call it the Panama Papers.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna do a YouTube video link that also like gives like a quick rundown. That's a little bit like easier to understand, but basically it's just a company a series of companies like backed by world banks, like set up in Panama, and companies would just it's basically a tax haven, preventing $400 million or I don't know, some insane numbers. But what's really insane is it's 2.6 terabytes of data. So like a bunch of like people have already been, like ex-prime ministers, like the Middle East, and they're pretty much like the world over. So it's kind of like my brother and I were just talking about it. And my brother's like, that is pretty much like the step towards either New World Order or like the war, like the next war. This is basically like setting up like how many billions and billions of dollars were spent. I think it's something like triggered a flag that like one of these companies was trying to launder money from donating fuel to the Syrian army.
Okay.
Like jet plane fuel.
Yeah, I had an article here.
I'm really
about
just regurgitating everything I like just read on the internet. So
right,
like,
exactly.
I feel like I'm already kind of not qualified to talk about this. But I feel like this is something that should probably be talked about, right?
It definitely is, and that's actually I had this article, and I didn't have enough time to research what was really going on, so I almost wasn't going to even bring it up. But I'm glad you did, and I could just tell like the overview that this article has the cache of 11.5 million records shows how global industry of law firms and big banks sell financial secrecy.
Big banks, asset management, and like law firms basically just funnel money away from companies. Like they're talking about like more money than like a lot of countries have as like GDP.
Yeah, and this is called the Panama. This is called the Panama Papers. Do you know for what reason these records were ever being kept anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, why would
what records and how? No, what it was is there were like over 100 different news agencies that were like banded together to go through all of this company called like Mossack Fonseca. I don't even know if like I'm probably like on a list now. I've been talking about this shit on some sort of public communication.
No,
but
Skype,
yeah, like
Skype
Mossack
is
Fonseca,
encrypted.
right? Like fuck, man, it's this company that basically is responsible for like human trafficking, drug trafficking, like all of these people. They said like the hit list on Reddit was like Vladimir Putin. His like finances were like given to a friend that started this company.
Okay.
And it's like major global powers. Like the list is like a bunch of ex-prime ministers of like Israel, and like it's worth looking up. I guess. Like I was actually hold on. Let me see what I was like.
No, it is. I like Android. Did you look into this at all or no? Basically, it's confirming kind of what we all already knew. You know, about media working with like behind the scenes powerful cabals.
That's what I mean. Like, is it wrong to even be shocked at this point? Because I'm kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I guess it's like my reaction.
Yeah. No. I see stuff like this and I'm like, well, yeah, of course.
The records came from a law firm based in Panama, but that had branches pretty much everywhere in the entire world, 38 countries. It doesn't say why or how they got leaked, but it's all their records of like, let's see, 214,488 offshore entities, 200 countries and territories. They've got records of all of these fake corporations that were set up, paper companies that only exist on paper so that people could hide money in them.
Okay, right.
Companies that exist only to lose money because that's where you put the money, and then it just goes away because it's like a shit business.
Right.
Sure. Right. Like
and it's anonymous.
Oil.
I can't tell you who owns that.
Who?
It's like a thin veil.
So they're saying this data goes back to 1977 and all the way through 2015, and really, I guess is pretty much the biggest fucking leak or cache of information that we've ever had on the way these sort of like offshore front company operations work together and stuff like that.
Well, right, and it's the whole gas and oil papers were released like really recently, and now it's just kind of like.
But this thing also implicates
someone's really giving it to all of the major world powers via the internet. Like,
right.
It's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this thing also implicates like prime ministers, shit like that.
Yeah,
because
current prime ministers.
Right. I gotta think that like heads of corporation and people like this are not really shitting their pants because hey, they rely on the ignorance of the public every day, and their operation is going to continue as is. But the politicians are going to have to deal with this. Offshore dealings by let's see, the late father of British Prime Minister David Cameron, who's always in some shit. I saw the Prime Minister of Iceland. There's a bunch of people that are implicated. These guys are going to have to deal with it. I got to think like the CEOs of this or that company are going to be fine. I think they're going to continue on unabated with their whole thing. But
just business as usual, gentlemen.
Yeah. So man, we're probably going to hear a lot more about this soon.
Yeah, this is going to be a thing. It's gonna, I'm not gonna do this jackass. Like, change things, man. It's 2.6 terabytes of data. It's gonna take a fuck ton of time just to even go through it all.
Holy shit! Look at this. They're saying the law firm's leaked internal files contain information on 214,488 offshore entities connected to
companies that all exist on one island.
Dude, holy shit! Connected to people in more than 200 countries and territories. Fuck, this is huge.
The whole fucking planet, man. The whole planet.
Dude, I didn't realize.
Global scam just came crashing down in like a couple of hours.
Now, here's the question: How many times has something this huge happened before and
happened and nothing changes?
And how little will this fucking matter? But this is big.
Yeah,
this
is going to be so boring in like a day and a half.
Yeah. This is big. Man, everything from the diamond trade to politics to everything. Wow.
Yeah, even with celebrities and sports, people there's it's all over the road out there.
Man, it even goes into the Watergate, how the Watergate burglars were paid. Fuck, man, there's a lot of fodder here.
The biggest gold heist in the history of the UK. Let's see, they got 7,000 gold bars, diamonds, and cash. And there's now evidence that they stashed a lot of it in fake companies through this very law firm. That was in 1983.
Dude, think about that.
It's everything.
Think what that really means. Like, and all of this shit's coming out now.
It's everything. I mean, everybody has done everything here.
So everybody's hands are dirty. Who's going to be guilty, right? Do we just murder all of them?
Oh, yeah.
What do we do?
I mean, but a part of me just goes, okay, so look, here's a part about FIFA. FIFA's still running after years of fucking really damning controversy.
Like evil, death, and corruption.
Right, yeah.
Do you think we're going to get a call tonight where the caller doesn't suggest that we just kill all politicians?
No, probably not. We never do.
Is that just like par for the course for you guys?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, my dad...
You're like, yeah, this is just my day-to-day.
My dad called earlier and said the last guy who had a real vote in this country was Lee Harvey Oswald. And that's the kind of input we get.
That's amazing. That's an amazing quote. Is that soundbite?
That's soundbite worthy if he wasn't so drunk when he said it.
Well, I want that sample.
We could have used it for an intro if it was more coherent. The law firm's co-founder Ramon Fonseca said in a recent interview on Panamanian television that the firm has no responsibility for what clients do with the offshore companies that the firm sells. He compared the firm to he's fucking
dude they've known about.
Dude, how
he's like literally
he's
everything.
The Lionel Hutz of the New World Order. Just fucking, hey, what they do after I sell the company has nothing to do with me. Is that scotch?
Yeah, I mean, what did I do? It's just some paperwork.
Yeah, you want some? It's 9:30 in the morning. He compared the firm to a car factory whose liability ends once the car is produced. Blaming Mossack Fonseca for what people do with their companies would be like blaming a car maker if the car was used in a robbery.
When you slip on the street, you don't blame Nike.
Right? Yeah. Dude, I don't know if that analogy works. Wow, man, this is totally nuts. Holy shit! And again,
so
if you want to find this,
like, maybe you don't really. You're like, yeah, I saw something about it. Like, I don't know. I just read the headline, man. Like, I didn't read the article. But you're like, no, you should look into this because this is a thing.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we do like 80 fucking things every show. We should probably start focusing on one or two a little more. But
never.
But if you want to check this out for yourself, check out the Panama Papers. I mean, it's going to be all over.
Yeah, you won't miss it. Hey, I'm gonna go. I'll see you later.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man.
Later. Man, that is fucked up. We gotta stay on that story.
Yeah, I want more. There has to be one thing about every single person.
British media dubbed the heist the crime of the century.
Oh.
That's how BBC would say. It's the crime of the century. It's got to go up at the end.
Yeah.
Offshore criminals getting away with whatever they want. Much of the loot, including the cash reaped by melting the gold and selling it, was never recovered. They're talking about blah blah blah. Oh, that's
never recovered.
And the gold was never recovered. Rape and genocide. Let's go to a quick break here on the Overdose Talk Show. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes. You're good for a little more show, right, Andrea?
Yeah, I could squeeze a little more out.
All right, cool. All right, guys, back in a minute or two. All right. If you're still listening at this point in the show, you might be interested in where we're going in the future. We're going to expand to a whole bunch of different podcast sites soon. So let us know in the comments if you're listening on YouTube, or any of our live audience can always call into the show at 630-599-7827 on any subject, or introduce a whole new topic or whatever you feel like. Or send us an email at sundayeveningoverdose@gmail.com for also any reason. But we'd like to know where your favorite podcasts are found, what apps and sites we should be looking at. We've got a list. But
we have a list.
But we don't really do that shit. We don't listen to podcasts. We make them.
Yeah. We make originals.
Dude, does your life ever get so terrible that you start finding really, really small ways to feel better? I find
like bullying people.
No, not like that. Yeah, does your life ever get so terrible that you just go out and find someone smaller than you and just fucking push them around a little bit?
That's my favorite.
No, I'm talking more about like you catch yourself doing pathetic things that are like, well, at least I got this. I remember the other day, literally, this is when I realized I needed to make some changes. The other day, there's this homeless guy that I hang out with named Brandon, all right? And he's like he's like the neighborhood nice homeless guy that, like, in every city neighborhood there's the guy that he's like, man, you could like hire him to clean a grease trap or like change a tire or some shit. He's always around, he's always doing stuff, he's looking to make a couple bucks. He's friendly, everybody knows him, all right? So that's Brandon. Right. And Brandon's actually cool. Like, you won't mind bringing him out to the bar and hanging out. He doesn't, like, he's not fucking horribly shitty looking and smelly. He's kind of smelly. But Brandon, the other day I got in my car and I'm like starting my car and I'm about to take off and go to the store, and I waved to Brandon and he was walking with this other homeless guy. And I was like, I bet Brandon feels pretty cool that he knows somebody in a car right now. I bet Brandon's like, I bet that impresses his friend that Brandon just said hi to somebody driving a car. I'm like, fuck, is that all I have to feel good about? God damn it. How fucking pathetic.
I am in a car.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll just be like, well, fuck, I got a gram of weed and a pint of whiskey, and I'm not really that hungry. I'm doing pretty fucking good.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Today I got excited because I took a walk and didn't need my inhaler.
Oh, dude, what's going on with you? You've been sick for so fucking long. What is it?
Yeah.
3 months now?
Yeah, just over 3 months.
Because you have shitty lungs, you're an asthma idiot, and you don't know how to take care of yourself.
It's been roughly 10 weeks. No, I'm sorry. 13 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how to take care of myself, no.
Are you sure you're not dying at this point?
No, not even a little am I sure of that. I had to go to a doctor I'm finally insured, but I can't use it yet because I don't have any proof of it. But I had to go to a doctor without insurance because I quit taking one of my inhalers for 3 days, and I thought I was going to die. I'm going to end up taking medicine for like a year at least, every day.
And what is this, like a lung virus infection?
Yeah, well, I had asthma when I was a kid, which I really wasn't convinced about until recently. Because this is the worst I've ever been in terms of my lungs, ever, in my entire life. I've never been this bad. And I always thought it was food allergies, and then exacerbated by the medication that I was taking, because as you'll recall, I've talked about this on the show too. When I quit taking my asthma medication when I was a kid was when I started getting better.
Yeah, dude, I remember when you were a little kid and you first got on your asthma medication, you ballooned up like nothing I've ever seen in my life. You were a scrawny little stupid fuck, and then all of a sudden you were like basically the body proportion of Homer Simpson, like in like 4 months. You just
That's happening again right now. You haven't seen me for a while. But
are you a big fat shit again?
Dude, it fucking sucks.
Are you having to
sucks.
Is it to where you're like not able to wear your pants anymore and stuff?
Oh, no. All my clothes still fit. They just don't fit how I want them to.
Okay, that's nothing yet. Yeah.
Well, and part of it too is that, okay, first of all, my throat has been sore now for like a week and a half. So I'm eating ice cream to soothe that,
Right.
obviously. But
Getting
part
plenty
of it,
plenty of rest, right?
yeah. Well, that's the other part. I can't fucking get up and do anything. I can't walk around. I can't run around with the dog. I can't go up and down the stairs. I live on the 4th floor. I like to take the stairs, you know. I can't even walk up the stairs. I feel like I'm going to die. And then I get like, I'll start coughing,
slob.
and then my vision will start narrowing down to a point, and I'll get like really dizzy and lightheaded. I mean, I'm completely debilitated. When I'm at work, I have to stand in one spot.
You piece of shit.
Dude, seriously. I am. I don't know what to do about it. And then I take these steroids, and they fucking make me cranky and hungry. And now apparently they do this to my voice, because maybe this is just what I sound like now.
Speaking of what you made me think of before when you said you walked without your inhaler, guess what I did? I went to the store without my cell phone a couple days ago.
What?
Yeah. No. And dude,
can you do that?
I know. I'm like, I've been really irritated with myself about how like fucking addicted I've gotten to my phone, because I was never like that. Like, I didn't even have the internet till I was like fucking 24, you know. I rejected all that shit when I was young, and it was totally available and cheap. You know, I'm not that old. And it really was something I could have been a part of a long time ago. Like, I didn't have a Facebook until a few years ago, you know, and all this shit, and a smartphone and any of that shit. And it's been a couple of short years that I'm like, I can't imagine not having this fucking thing with me. And really, the reason I would make like the responsible decision to not even have one anymore if I didn't use it. I have an eBay store, so it's really good for that, to stay in fucking contact with customers and shit like that wherever I am. Playing music, talk shows in the car, these couple of practical uses. But 90% of the way I use this fucking thing is to waste time, you know, and to not interact with people. And so, like, lately I've been telling myself, like, what am I going to be gone? Half hour? Guess what? I'm going to set this thing on the table, and you look at it for a few seconds, like, get nervous, kind of pace back and forth, like, what if? No. I'm going to do it. And then I leave, and I go, I'm going to talk to people and look them in the eye, and I'm going to notice things in trees, and I'm going to see things on the ground, and I'm going to smell the air, and I'm going to walk like I used to. Just walk to a place. I used to just walk to a place, and there wasn't a thing. Now I'm so used to, like, well, fuck, I got to walk 6 blocks, get my headphones, let me throw something on, so I'm in my own world, make sure nobody can fucking talk to me, or I don't have to experience anything. But I just am remembering lately how much more interesting life used to be without this fucking thing. How I used to just be out there in the jungle on my own, you know. And,
who knows? Maybe you'll see a dog.
Dude, I might have to talk to somebody I don't even like. That might be a thing I have to do, and I might have to navigate that situation to build my own character and kind of make myself a little bit more interesting and versatile. You know, I might have to do that.
I was going to make like a condescending joke about how that's the type of thing that builds character. And then you said that seriously.
No, I know. I felt cheesy saying that, but it's true. It's like when I used to go out all day, and like now, dude, you're at the restaurant to pick some shit up, and there's 2 other people sitting there. I swear to you, this is true. 10 years ago, a conversation would be a normal thing that would happen between people waiting for food. And you'd actually talk and maybe point out what's on TV. That's fucking stupid, huh? Yeah, man, I hate this shit. You know, whatever you're going to talk about. That used to be a thing. And now, what is it? And 100% of people know what I'm talking about. You're in a little confined area with some other human beings. Everyone just looks at their phone and doesn't acknowledge each other. It's a cop-out. And because interacting with a stranger is awkward, but it builds a lot of useful social skills. You know what I mean? Navigating these social situations without having this cop-out of just like, don't bother me. I'm fucking looking at what my friends want me to look at for the petty ego stroke of me liking it. Stop. Don't bother me.
Facebook is important.
Don't bother me. I'm connected right now socially.
Yeah.
So don't fucking talk to me. But I'm like, and I know it's cheesy, and this has been a conversation for 15 years at this point, but it's like, then you go out, you're like, okay, I'm going to not take my phone. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to be a person again. And you go out, and guess what? There's no other people. Everybody's just staring at their shit, so you're sitting there like bored. Like, fuck, now I gotta read the side of this fucking cereal box or some shit because I'm bored as shit because this guy's, watching awesome videos and participating.
God damn it.
Yeah. But I've been trying more and more, and I don't know, something about it feels good, feels a little bit of weight off my shoulders for some reason, and it's amazing how this shit that's so, it has this amazing potential of enhancing your life, and it ends up just dragging you down.
Well, you know what really gets me is when I say something like, what movie won Best Picture 3 years ago? And someone just goes, I don't know, look it up. Well, no, why don't you help me remember?
It's kind of fun to remember
exercise
things.
Our brains,
dude.
and see if we can work our way back.
I've had that same thing in bar conversations where, yeah, it's like, wait, what was this thing? And then somebody goes, why are you trying to think of a thing? Just look it up.
Yeah.
What are you, a fag? Why are you trying to use your brain? Yeah. And you're like, no, come on, let's have a real thing. You'll say an idea, I'll say an idea, it'll all be funny. Somebody will say something stupid. Come on, this is what it used to be like.
Yeah. I don't really want to know.
I'm trying to think of things. Just look it up, dude. We're a hive mind
Idiot.
now. Yeah, come on.
You have like an infinity brain in your pocket.
Right, yeah. You don't need a brain, bruh. But it is like it's this paradox though of like, I do love that because you are in situations where you're like, no, fuck you, you're wrong, I'm gonna show you right now, and you show somebody like, oh, you're okay, fine, it was that year, whatever the stupid thing is.
That's actually my favorite practical use of a cell phone
is to make someone else feel stupid.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can do with it. No, but dude, the paradox never ceases to amaze me. The idea that we're connected and we're more socially aware and this and that, juxtaposed with the real life implications of isolation that it has. Like, that's what this stuff is all about, is isolating you and alienating you.
Well, you know what else is scary too? I mean, you also can't neglect the fact that it's a data mining machine that you are willingly putting all of your information into and carrying with you everywhere you go.
We used to care about that in the early days of the internet. Adults would tell you, hey, there's a lot of these companies out there trying to farm information, and be careful what surveys you do, and this might be a trick and that might be a trick. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. Remember when people used to be nervous to put their personal information online? Now you want to fucking buy something, you're just like, yep, credit card, fucking, here's my address,
Everything.
here's my shit.
Social security number.
You don't give a shit.
My mother's maiden name.
I need
how many animals I have, the names of my children and where they go to school.
I
a
need
list of their fears.
I need a pair of Confederate flag boots, and I need them now.
Yeah, whatever they need, it's fine. Well, another element to that too, though, is like, just in addition to all the other ways that we're conditioned to be dependent on our phones, I don't know that you've ever experienced this as a man.
I've experienced everything.
There's like a fear campaign against women where women are
Shut up. No, there's not. Get the fuck out of here. That's fucking media propaganda to demonize the straight white male, just like everything else I've ever seen is. Yeah. Fucking, it's all against me. You know what? Fuck you. Fuck all you women. That's right. That's what you get. That's what you get for trying to stand up to me. The big, strong, white male! Sorry.
I'm scared.
Where were you going with that?
Well, where I was going with that was that I not only feel dependent on my phone as a person who doesn't like to talk to strangers, it's I've kind of been brainwashed into thinking, well, if I don't have my phone, something's gonna happen and I won't be able to call for help.
No, I know, but you know what?
You know when women get pulled over, if there are no other cars on the road, they're supposed to call 911 and say, hey, a car just pulled me over. Can you make sure it's a real cop before I open my window?
Well, that's not a bad idea, really. I mean, it's not like it's...
Well, are you really that much safer if it's not a cop?
Honestly...
Oh!
Honestly, yes, because
yeah, I know.
only a certain percentage of cops are going to fucking do something horrible when they pull you over. But, you know, I'd say 100% of people impersonating cops and pulling you over are probably doing it for a bad reason. It's never... Nobody ever impersonates a cop and just comes up and goes like, look, dude, I'm not actually a cop. I totally got you, but you really need to slow down. You know, it's not safe with you driving like that out here. I got kids, okay? You know? That's never why somebody impersonates a cop. Excuse me, sir, I've got some questions for you about a missing person. Like, no, it's Anton from No Country for Old Men about to fucking pound your brain out with one of those cattle guns. That's what that's what it is. But anyways, yeah, what I tell every girl that I actually care about, and I'm sure I've told you this at some point, and every girlfriend I've had, first of all, almost every guy I know, either, and this is almost, there's a lot of weak fucking betas out there at this point, but almost every guy I know has some way that he thinks he can protect himself. If it's not working out a little bit and kind of knowing how to fight, it's I carry a knife, I carry a brass knuckles or some shit or blah, blah, blah. You know, this is, and maybe it's just because of the kind of people I've known. But most people I know, you got some. I was
going to say.
Yeah, okay, fine. But I've always carried a knife, always. Only pulled it once in my life. Didn't have to use it, but I was glad I had it. And whatever. But it's like this kind of instinct of like, fuck, you know, I might need to protect myself at some point. But girls, a lot of times, don't seem to have that basic instinct. And I've had to talk to a lot of girlfriends I have that I'm like, you know, you walk from the bus and you do this stuff. And I know it's a 99% chance that you're going to be fine every time. But, you know, that time that somebody does try to fuck with you or hurt you or do something, I wish you would carry some mace, you know? And that's what I tell, like, any girl I care about who's not like a fucking some kind of trained fighter who can really take care of themselves. Like, it's like, dude, you carry something, please, because I worry about you, you know? And most girls don't seem to do that instinctively. Like, they have to be almost talked into it or go through a bad experience first, and they go, that's never going to happen to me again.
Well, and they make apps now, see, to that effect. They make apps now, like, there's one that you open it when you're leaving a location, and you keep your finger on, you like hold your phone so your finger's on the screen in a certain part.
I'll dial 9-1, and then when you say, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So that way, like, if something happens to you, all you have to do is drop your phone, and it signals an emergency response. That gives you like, if you take your finger off the phone, it gives you like 10 seconds or something to say, no, I'm okay.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
And then if you don't, then they find you based on where your phone is, and send help.
I'm down with shit like that as a last resort, like, because, yeah, not every woman is going to be carrying a gun and proficient with using it. So, like, some situations you're not going to be able to mace your way out of. So, yeah, that's
They also make apps now that certain police departments are working with, where if you press a button, it immediately opens a live stream with a face-to-face video of a police officer.
Oh, yeah.
So you just have to point your phone at the person, and they can actually see the person. Whereas you could be, say you're getting attacked in a parking garage, and you can call 911, and by the time they find you, you're in the trunk of a car 3 blocks away. Or by the time they get there, you're in the trunk of a car 3 blocks away. Whereas if you've got the video, that person is literally face to face with an officer, and they can be like, "Don't do it, son."
Oh, I see what you mean. So it actually I didn't understand what you meant at first. So the app actually brings a video feed of an officer up on your phone to tell the supposed attacker, "Hey, we can see you. We're coming. You better not do it."
Yeah. If you take off running, we'll see where you go. You know?
God, I wish police were just that. Man, I would, dude, I've said so many times, I would be a fucking cop if it was just that. If it was actually just dealing with real fucking threats. You know? That's my personality type. That's why I've done this kind of fucking... I know I'm not some awesome, brilliant, fucking successful, you know, underground journalist or something, but this is why I've been prone to do this kind of work and, like, expose real criminals in politics and be interested in all this stuff is because, like, I really feel like my community is threatened. And I wish if there wasn't, like, this big, massive threat, I could break it down and just be like, let's go catch a murderer. You know, I would love to be a cop in that situation if that was just all they did was shit like that.
Yeah, well, what about, like, private security?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people lately have been saying that private security around the world as it's been used in places where there's no police has been more corruptible than police. But from what I've seen in the few places that it's been utilized in the United States as an alternative to patrolling police, it's been really well-liked
Yeah,
and successful.
me too. I haven't seen anything super negative about it.
You know how it works around, like, the Middle East and stuff like that is like companies like DynCorp and stuff. That's what people associate it with is these companies that end up engaging in child trafficking and all this horrible shit because they're totally unchecked, supposedly, by public scrutiny. You know, and like it or not, you might think you're going to have competition between these companies and stuff, but they could engage in corruption with local politics and stuff to ensure their contracts continue even against public outcry and things of that nature. So I guess I could see that too. I don't know what the real solution is, but right now I see that I like the way fucking private security teams perform in this country a lot more than I like what police do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that, though? There's always going to be this argument that, like, hey, they're corruptible too and possibly twice as much. Hey, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it, but also I have never seen that in this country. And things that operate on a small scale have less chance of that.
And if we did it the American way,
it'd be huge.
It'd be huge, and we'd have hopefully a bunch of these companies competing, so that if we said, hey, these guys are being fucking dicks, they're starting to engage in this and that, they're harassing people, they're shaking them down, then we'd hire somebody else theoretically. I don't know how it would play out though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, what about shit like, how do we... So people always talk about crony capitalism versus actual capitalism. And to me, it's the same idiotic argument as, like, thinking, okay, we can enforce real capitalism is the same idiocy as thinking we can enforce real socialism. Because like, to me, that's why socialism is so stupid, is it's like, dude, obviously, you know, the government doesn't work to protect us whatsoever. It's a complete joke. To act like corporations are the enemy, to me, is stupid, because corporations couldn't be nearly as powerful as they are without the apparatus of government to have the influence that they have. You know, so I kind of see both of them as like, what guarantee do you have either way? None. You know, it's the same stupid assumption that, like, somehow you can use government to enforce a clean economic policy that's right. That's fair to everyone. So people talk about crony capitalism versus capitalism. I'm like, yeah, what's your solution? Well, we need to better police corporations. Oh, that's what socialists say. I don't fucking get it. I don't get where anybody thinks that's going to work. We're in the Wild West. We're always going to be, until we fucking evolve to the point that we really mechanize society to work for us and not the other way around. But it's just, we're not there. We're not even close.
No.
So that's why I'm not, like, it's like, you know, I don't come out here and I see the benefits of capitalism a little more easily than socialism, maybe because I was raised in a capitalist culture, and that might be all that it is. But I don't think either one is like some righteous thing, you know. And that's whatever, I guess. I mean, because right now security is socialized, right? We have no choice. It's all coming down through bureaucracy and influence.
You're paying for it whether you like it or not.
Right, and our law enforcement is socialized, right? Is that wrong to say?
No.
Okay. So my only point is then assuming that it's going to be okay once it's turned over to capitalism is probably not right either.
No, but
I might rather deal with that chaos, I guess, than the guarantee of the evil of socialized law enforcement. Right? Is this all fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. And also, if you think about it, like small security groups patrolling neighborhoods that they feel connected to, and being paid by the people who live in them, it feels more powerful on the people's end, you know? But
yeah, okay, and is that just another way of having the illusion of choice, though, like we do with Coke or Pepsi? And, like we have with so many corporations. Like, look at GE and things of this nature. Is that free market? You know? I mean, it's really hard to call Monsanto free market and GE free market when you've got the, both are incredibly successful companies, both made products that people bought voluntarily, albeit they were totally uninformed, right? But and misinformed, but still these were all voluntary transactions, i.e. free market exchanges of supposedly superior products at a at a lower price, right? So, but once you learn about Monsanto, you can't call that free market when they've had the amazing overlap with government that they've had and the history from their inception of completely powerful people dipping into both pies and controlling both sides. You know what I mean? As far as government and enterprise goes.
yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think the difference here between, private security versus police, and then with GE and Monsanto, like, I don't buy Monsanto stuff at all.
I bet you do without realizing it somewhere, honestly.
Yes, but I do. But that's not a willing exchange for me. So that's one thing. But like GE keeps giving me electricity, so I keep buying their electricity.
Right, but what if there were 6 different companies? And what if you could live in have you ever lived somewhere where Comcast wasn't the only fucking option?
Yes.
I know. I'm exaggerating. but I'm saying for a lot of the country, Comcast is the only option.
Yeah.
Is that natural? You don't think there's other people with ideas and capital to get going? You don't think that they're acting like a mafia at some level? You know what I mean?
Oh, what about fiber optics too?
Yeah, what about fiber optics? How come that hasn't become a bigger part of society?
It is. It's available some places now. Fuck, I can't remember what it's called. I saw an ad for it. And it's fiber optic internet, and you can get it some places. I can't get it here. I checked.
Okay, but why? But I'm talking about in general, like passing information at the speed of light isn't the thing that we all have at this point and want. Like, you know what I mean?
And you know what? There are a lot of fiber optic cables already laid in anticipation of this technology being available.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's a huge construction cost that would go into it at this point. It's already been invested.
Right. The infrastructure is there, young Andrea. That's how you say that as a statesman. The infrastructure for fiber optics has been laid. No more slow internet. You got to know how to get the people inspired. All right, young Andrea. You've done an excellent job tonight. We got to rest your voice and get out of here.
As have you.
Oh, thank you. I try the best I can. I know I'm not perfect, but I do the best I can, and I'm really happy with the work that I do. Thank you for listening to the Overdose Talk Show. We'll be back Thursday with a guest. We got a guest on Thursday?
Hell yeah.
This is true. I think Jenny Girl is going to be on Thursday. I haven't gotten the confirmation from her, but I'm expecting to. The YouTuber who's currently offering $1,000 to anyone who can provide any photographic evidence whatsoever of an evacuation of Sandy Hook Elementary. The morning of that fateful shooting. What was that, back in 2012? Man, time flies. Currently, no fucking photographic evidence exists of an evacuation of school children from that school. You might think that sounds stupid. Tune into the show to find out why it's not. And she's offering it out of pocket, and she's also offering to divulge her real identity if anyone claims the prize, which they won't. And we'll get into that with Jenny Girl this Thursday, hopefully. Thanks for tuning in. We love you guys, and thank you very much for the support. Andrea, I'll talk to you later. Good night.